Hey there, welcome to ATL and 29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chenard. I am here with both Tyler Jones and Glenn Willis, recording on a Monday Memorial Day night. And I eventually want to ask you lots of questions about the draft, specifically the number 8 pick. But before we do that, we're in the middle of the conference finals, at least momentarily for the Knicks here. Um, what have been the takeaways from these conference finals, Tyler?
Not sure. Other than the Cavaliers, uh, Cavaliers going to have some tough decisions to make. Unfortunately for them, I think the core is just not good enough, and they have too many holes and not enough ways to fill them. To me, it'll be interesting to see if the Hawks are going to try to get into some of these talks, particularly if Jared Allen is available, because Jared Allen could absolutely help this Hawks team right now. So, just somebody, a name to look out for. But yeah, unfortunate end for the Cavs. It just the while they're like a super talented team, they never really meshed that well together. And through two coaches, you can't really say it's coaching at this point. It's just the reality is when you don't. To me, with the Cavs in particular, they have four great players, but they don't play well together. Like ultimately, they're not the best fitting pieces next to each other. They kind of have duplicative strengths and weaknesses, and so it's really easy to key in on them. So for all their success in the last couple of years, it's kind of you kind of feel bad for them because they went all out to try to win a title and they came up short again this year. So unfortunate for them. But outside of that, I don't really have anything. Other than the Knicks are playing some great ball.
Glenn, what do you think about what's happening out west?
I enjoyed watching the game last night. I thought it was a pretty neutrally officiated game, and for me, it's like I'm just imagining if it's OKC versus the Knicks in the finals, it's like the nonstop whining from both teams. It's just going to drive me crazy the whole series. I'll still watch it, but it'll drive me crazy. But Shea didn't get like all the calls he normally gets last night. I mean, he had one shot where he kicked his leg out, created contact, and they gave him that foul call and a few other things. But I thought the crew last night was about as balanced as you could be and wasn't falling for all that stuff.
No, I
The
thought they
other
were
reason,
terrible. I got to disagree with you, Glenn.
yeah,
I'm getting a little frustrated because all this crying and bitching about Wimby and how physical the OKC Thunder are defending him. Like, that's basketball, but like they're getting to the free throw line. Like they're doing what they need to do to generate good offense in spite of the physicality OKC plays with. I don't understand the crying just in general about the referee. Like, shut up and play. I and like this disrespect that Shea is getting for the level of player that he is I've never seen this shit before. I'm sorry. They didn't say this about Kobe. They didn't say this about Dwayne Wade. They didn't say this about LeBron James. They said this about none of these dudes. Shea, one, he doesn't cry to the fucking refs. And two, he, he
really,
just played. Now, does he flop? Does he try to sell contact? Sure. But
Sure.
do you see him whining like he's Luca?
Nope.
Like he's Joel Embiid? Like,
No.
get out of here. Like, I don't understand like this complete like we're trying to denigrate a great player just because that's what we do. Like we don't for whatever reason we don't like how you play, and so we're gonna like dismiss your character. Like complaining about he falls too much. Like who cares? If he's falling, then take advantage of it on the other
Exactly.
end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like who cares? Like that. That's not an advantage for him. He does for whatever reason he does that. That means nothing for the other team. Like so, and like I thought the Spurs took advantage. I thought last night the Spurs played him one on one, aggressive defense, super physical, didn't overhelp, and they forced and they really, I think, put the Thunder in compromised positions primarily because they're missing their two other ball handlers, and so like they were just like, all right, somebody else is going to have to create separation off the dribble. It's not going to be Shea. We're going to put our best guys on him. We're going to grab, hold, clutch, all that stuff. And like I thought Shea didn't bring it to the level that he needed to bring. He had a bad game, but like to me, I'm just so like I'm just I just find the OKC conversation to have gone completely off the rails at this point. Like I just like the lack of respect for a title winner and for how dominant they've been for like the last 3 years now. Like this just I just think it's hating. Like I just think NBA media for whatever reason doesn't want to anoint certain types of basketball players over others. They have everybody has their own biases for some reason. And I'm like, okay, you can have that, but let's not sit here and just make stuff up about guys. Like Shea's the back to back, he's back to back NBA MVP, won NBA Finals MVP last year, first one to do Finals MVP and win MVP the same year since Michael Jordan. Like that's the era that he's in. He has to play better. He knows he has to play better, but this is a great. These are two great teams going at it. Like there's always going to be, pushes and pulls during the series, and so it's gonna be fun to see how they respond. But like I just it's the character. Like questioning his character is what's pissing me off. Like he's like off the court a great guy, like and on the court, like that's a great team full of great dudes who like play for each other and don't and like play unselfish basketball. Like every team should want to play like that. I don't. I'm tired of the superstar model of the superstar. The sun, moon, and stars will revolve around him, and everybody's got to be subservient. Like no, like these are professional athletes. These are basketball players. They deserve. I prefer how OKC has the camaraderie of like actually liking playing with each other. So that's kind of where I'm at. My bad, Glenn. I didn't mean to like completely rant, but I'm just tired. I'm just tired of the like the Thunder don't shoot that many free throws as a team. Like they foul a lot. That is their blueprint. They do this because they have more depth than any team in the league. They can afford to have guys in foul trouble. And like Mark Daigneault will throw a different wave after different wave of good basketball player until he finds out what works. That's how they win. They don't win because they're manipulating the referees. They get called for fouls. It's the problem is that most teams don't go 12, 13 deep in today's NBA. Like and so he's willing to have his star player, quote unquote, to get 4 fouls in the first half or whatever, just because like he doesn't want them changing how they defend for a full 48 minutes.
Yeah, he's obviously a great player. I find him annoying to watch. I he he doesn't have a ton of functional strength, so he has to push off on his drives. His first step is not that bursty, so he has to. I mean, he's got a great handle and he can get to a step back. I mean, his bag is big, right? As the kids would say, his bag is robust. There's a lot he can do with the basketball in his hands. But I just watch him play and it's like he's like of average strength, and so he has to push on drives and he's doing a better job of not like last playoffs. It drove me crazy all talk because he was getting the full arm extension that they never called it. He's cleaned that up, and I think at one point last year in the finals, I think someone finally said we're not going to let that go anymore, and you got to clean that up, and he did clean it up, right? And he started, getting marginal, not full extension. The full extension they're going to call that you get it out to here, they're not going to call that, and so he cleaned that up. But even now, like when someone's trying to top lock him, he pushes off his defender to go get the basketball, like every single time. And it's fine if they're not going to call that on both ends of the floor. So okay, if the Spurs can do that too, then that's fine. I'm fine if it's called consistently on both ends. But for me, it's like the unnecessary. It feels like there's 5 to 7 plays every night that are unnecessary, kicking his leg out, falling down, flopping, those sorts of things. And I just think he's better than that. And I don't think he needs all that. He's obviously back-to-back MVPs, most impactful player on the best team in the league right now. All that stuff is completely true. I just want people to play like legitimate basketball and not need to fall down and flop and do all that sort of stuff to try to get to the free throw line. That's the stuff that I find annoying. So, but we can have different opinions on that.
There's worse examples than Shea. Sorry, like It's like I used to be on this pill, but like not in the same league where Jimmy Butler exists. I'm sorry. Like I don't buy this with Shea. Like these guys are competitors. They want to win. Manipulating the refs is a part of the game. And to the Spurs' credit, last game they didn't buy. They didn't fall for it. The refs didn't fall for it. And more
Yep.
importantly, they were physical without fouling for most of the game. And so like
Yep.
that's how you
And they
have to
put
defend them.
and they put two
So
on Shea. They put two on Shea a lot, like a
yeah,
lot. They put two on him a lot. They didn't give the
But
ball enough.
less in the fourth in this most recent game though, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, but they had a pretty good lead, at the time and stuff like that. So, I don't know if you wanted to like Miss Johnson. We talk about coaches making trade-offs. Miss Johnson might have decided, I don't want Shea to problem solve this in the fourth quarter on us, so we're going to put one on him, so he's not can't go back and see more repetitions of how we're doubling him. He may have decided strategically we're going to pull that back. We're going to save that for next game. We'll see what happens when they play game 5.
I thought Tyler kind of hit the nail on the head where in terms of like what makes it watchable, I think what makes it a little bit difficult to watch is just the sheer volume of fouling that Oklahoma City is
Welcoming.
comfortable with.
Yep.
And I think that tends to get misplaced when fans watch it, especially if you're just watching like highlights of Shea and you cut it the right way, they're gonna make it look like there are plays. But I like if you just talk about Shea, Jalen Williams, and like Chet Holmgren, like they play pretty much just like straight up basketball. Like it's fun to watch them play together. They play hard, they complement each other, they do what they can, but they don't complain to the refs. I don't feel like they're like grifting. And then like I think where the disservice for Shea comes in is that he's playing with Alex Caruso and Lou Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein, and then there are just a bunch of other guys who are just they're out there with Shea doing everything they can to sell junk. Like I do think that Oklahoma City is rather coached up with respect to some of their bench players trying to sell stuff. I don't know. And then that
Yeah,
reflects
yeah,
badly on Shea when there's something that happens with him. But
yeah.
he's so good in the mid range that it's like unguardable. Like he is so good
Well, it's
just
it's the
giving
it's the
himself
length.
a tiny bit of space and using it. Like he's just so accurate with those shots. I don't think that gets appreciated enough. And then you've got to do have any chance of stopping it, you have to be super physical with him, and then it does become a little bit of a whistle issue. But I wouldn't say anything about Shea being unwatchable. I very much enjoy watching him play.
Maybe I'm just old school. Just be professional. Have some ethics to the way you play the game. Don't kick your leg out on your jump shot to get some fake foul. And again, it's not like he does it 30 times a game. That's not what happens, right? But
Right.
there are, depending on the game, there are 3 to 5 to 6 plays where I'm just I'm like, that's embarrassing, for me. So I just wish everybody could just like stay on your feet, you know, don't flop, don't try to trick the refs or whatever it is and stuff like that. But like, I mean, Caruso winds the refs the whole freaking game, like
Yes.
the
He's
whole game,
the whole game.
and
It's hard to watch him.
Hardenstein. I mean, I love watching him play. He's so good. He's really, really, really good. But he got a little chippy with the refs last night, but I felt like the game was officiated really well last night. And we'll see what crew turns up for game 5, because the baseline might be completely different for game 5. So I'm just for people playing professional, constructive, respectable basketball. That's what I want to watch. And if people feel differently, Shea's the best player in the league right now. He is. He's 1-on-1, right? That's not debatable at all, right? I just want him to stop the stuff that I find unnecessary. So that's my personal uh issue, I guess.
All right, let's make this the draft podcast that it was supposed to be. With the Hawks drafting 8, Tyler, I guess my first question would be, all right, assuming the standard top 4 are off the board, what's going to happen if at 5, 6, and 7, and who's still going to be there for the Hawks to pick from?
I think uh it's going to be interesting. I would assume the next the guys the Hawks want would to me the two basketball players that the Hawks should want over anybody else would be Kingston Flemings and Keaton Wagler. I'm just not sure if either of them will be there just due to how good they were last year. Uh, but if they are there, then it makes your decision. You just pick one of them. But if they're not, I think Ansu is going to have to make some decisions whether he stays at 8, tries to move back, primarily because it's fairly flat to me after those two guys. It's the top 4, then those two guys, and I think it's kind of everybody else. Not to say that these guys aren't all talented; they just have um, unique strengths and weaknesses that have to be acknowledged, combined with this, their positional value. Like, there's a lot of good guards in this draft. There are only a couple of good wings, really, if you look at it, and there's only a couple of good bigs as well. That said, uh, the Hawks shouldn't be worrying about fit too much. They should just look at best player available, but they should also they should just look for like what's the best deal. Like if Flemings and Wagler aren't there, they should be looking at, all right, are we better taking somebody at 8 or moving back, getting more assets, and kind of building up our roster from there?
Glenn, we've already seen one draft, the only draft really that Ansi Saleh has been in charge of. The Hawks made a move and didn't draft in their original position. How likely do you think it is that the Hawks end up drafting somewhere other than 8 come draft night?
Well, it's interesting to think about that because I mean, we've seen the reporting that OKC. We think we talked about this. Like OKC can't bring 3 rookies onto their team next year. They don't have the roster spots for it, so they're maybe trying to consolidate and move up. There's maybe an opportunity to get more picks in the first round. If 1 through 7 goes such that the guy that you want is not there, a trade back might make some sense. Like, with them, whether it's the 8 for 2 picks or whatever that ends up being. Now, the other question is can the Hawks bring three rookies onto the roster next year? That's another different question altogether in that sense. But for me, it's like, I agree. Wagler and Flemings are guys that you hope 2 teams 1 through 7 make a bad pick, and that those guys are there and they have that option. But I'm also hearing they like Burries a little bit. I've heard that, as well. So I don't know how, we'll see if that's something that they're doing. And then Mikael Brown as well. I don't know like what his projectable kind of range is either. That's so those are the guys that kind of jump up to me. I know that like Hawks fans are talking about Mara a lot, and for me it's like I don't quite see it. I understand lack of rim protection, his size is intriguing, all that sort of stuff. I just don't know if he can play fast enough, play as fast as the Hawks want to play. We'll see. If that's something that they're interested in. But the Hawks do need to add rim protection in some form going into next season. They didn't have this year. Um, but I think Ansi will be sitting at 8, seeing how 1 through 7 goes. Did the guy that we want make it to 8? We make the pick. If the guys that we wanted did make it to 8, then maybe he's talking to OKC or other teams about trading back and get an extra pick. I think Ansi will just see what happens 1 through 7, and then be ready to make a move if that's the right thing.
Tyler, is there anybody who might
Burries, can we
intentionally
hold on? Can
go
we
ahead?
can we talk about Burries a bit? Because he's
Sure.
an intriguing guy. If you don't know, he's pretty like stout. He's over 200 pounds. Around 6'4", decent length. Not really a point guard though. Uh,
Definitely.
but but similar in the CJ McCollum mode. In certain ways where CJ's not really a point guard either, but true combo guardish type player. I can Andrew Kelly. He likes him. I've gone back and forth with him. Initially, I really liked him, but the more I watched, the more I just felt he was a little just not the quickest guy, not explosive athlete, but he is big. and he's a good like he's a very good defender. And so like if Quinn wants to, if this Hawks team really wants to commit to having three guards on the floor for extended periods of time, which I think is what Quinn wants to do. Like I feel like Quinn always wants to get three guards out there. He found gold when he finally found a three-guard lineup that could defend and get defensive rebounds. And like we saw the results where the Hawks were, net rating monsters for like 2 months. So like Burry's, I wouldn't hate it. I just don't like. To me, I think it's a little rich for him at 8. To me, just because I can't sit here and be like, yeah, he's that much better. He provides different, but like to me, I can't see how I could see myself being like, yeah, the Hawks should draft Burry's 8 while somebody as good as a Corey or Christian Anderson might be there at 23. Like that's really more of the conversation I'm having. It's less about Burry's talent and more about how talented the guards are in general. There's not really that separation. Understanding that Burry's probably fits better maybe than some of these guards that we would be talking about in this range. If they want to take him, they're going to have to take him at 8. I just feel like that wouldn't be best player available to me at 8. I just have guys who may not be good fits in Atlanta who are just flat out better basketball players than what he is. Like it's weird. Like I don't like Mikael Brown or Darius Acuff, but even I would cringe a little bit if the Hawks took Burries over one of those two. Um, even though like in theory you're like Burries does what the Hawks want, but like I don't see, like, to me, Acuff and Mikael Brown do have legit star upside offensively, whereas
Yep.
Burries is more. I, I think he can. I mean, anybody can become a star. We've seen this in the league. Some guys develop differently once they get up here, but like to me, he's more like he'd be elevated based on the talent the Hawks already have. Where Acuff and Brown, if they hit on in their top percent outcomes, could elevate the team to another level as contenders. Even though, again, me personally, I would prefer neither of them being on the team. Like it's weird. I would prefer Burries over those two guys, but like I I can't justify taking Burries over those two guys if that makes sense.
It does, and I think there's the draft strategy and then free agents and trade strategy are tied together. Like I have no idea if the Hawks feel like they can go get a higher level handball handler and creator to add to the team going into next year. Like is that I don't. It's hard for me to project who that player would be at this point in time. Or do, like I said, do two teams 1 through 7 kind of make bad picks, and all of a sudden Wagler's there, Fleming's there, and that you have that opportunity to kind of bring a actual, point guardish guy kind of onto the team. So teams mess it up sometimes. The Pelicans were the best example of that last year, on that night trade and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like what are the Clippers going to do? Like, do they, now that they don't have Zubac anymore? Do they want a center? Do they feel like you could take a center at 5, even though there's more? This is a more guard heavy draft, at least in the top half there. And so it's gonna see how the first four
Mara
go. It
would
feels
be
like the first four are a foregone conclusion. I just don't know what the actual order will end up being. Who likes which players, and so forth. So you got Wizards, Jazz, Grizzlies, Bulls sitting there. And so it's going to be interesting to see what that is. And then you get the Clippers, Nets, Kings. Kings are always good for kind of making a bad pick now and then too. So it's going to be interesting to see if one of those really good guards is there at 8, and if so, if Vontae counts as on them.
If we shift gears to Mara for a second, since we brought him up momentarily, Glenn, like if the Hawks go with Mara and there's a point in the game where Mara comes in and Onyeka Okongwu goes out, what changes for the Hawks on offense? What would the offense look like with Mara in there?
I mean, it'd be 4 out instead of 5 out. That's step one, right? Now, Mara's a better passer than I expected. I went back and watched some of that. He's a better, I mean, a little better than I expected. It's good, fine in DHO and all that sort of stuff, but I mean, it's the size and the rim protection and the rebounding that where the value comes. But on defense, I think you're playing strictly drop, and I don't know if that's what the Quinn wants to be married to. Uh, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, he's interesting in the form of like being able to park someone in front of the rim and not let the other team get to the rim. Now, as a rookie, he's going to foul a lot. It's that is a big adjustment to the NBA. All that sort of stuff. If anyone thinks he's going to start like come in on day one and be a starter and have this, no, that's not how it works for young centers. But I mean, I understand Hawks fans being intrigued. I don't want to push back on that. My big question is, does Quinn want to be married to drop, and can he play fast enough? The Hawks want to be top 2, 3 in pace, and really switch into the floor, create extra possessions. Was he willing to like really get himself in shape, to really be able to kind of play as fast as they need him to? That to me, that's a big open question there. But like I said, I don't want to push back on Hawks fans seeing intrigue generally.
Tyler, is there anybody who might ostensibly be drafted at number 8 that just because of defense or otherwise just makes you feel bad about the Hawks picking them? Did you just kind of want to veto it right off the bat?
No, just because like this Hawks team in general has a lot of defensive talent. One, though they didn't show up in the playoffs, other than Dyson Daniels. But like I I think they should not worry about that. They should just look more for talent. They need more. This Hawks roster needs more talent. They have 4 guys who are going to play 2,000 minutes next year. It's going to be on Auntie to figure out the rest of this roster, this rotation going forward, what he wants to do with Kaminga, CJ, et cetera, et cetera. So like I wouldn't completely dismiss talented basketball players because they're bad on defense. Just because like they're not drafting the next like star player for the Hawks. They're not drafting the guy who's going to be on the billboards. Like they don't need a franchise savior. They just need a good basketball player. And they should worry about who are good. Now, oftentimes the good basketball players are good defenders. So that's where I would be a little worried if they went offense with somebody at that spot. But at the same time, they need more offensive talent. They need more offensive creation. They need better physical downhill drivers just in general. So there's nobody in this draft class that I would be like, whoa, no, don't you can't do that. Just because like the role they're going to be in is going to be limited during the rookie years. Like, the basketball player they are, their rookie season isn't going to be the basketball player they're going to be. I don't think Auntie's looking to draft somebody to be in the rotation day one. I think he should be looking to just draft the best player. Like this is because like I mean he did the same thing last year with Asa Newell. Like Asa defensively was pretty bad. His rookie year, he projected to not be a good defender based on what he did in his college tape. But I think he got better throughout the year when he went down to the G League. And so like I think that's a prime example of somebody who the Hawks just drafted based on pure talent because he was the best talent available. So that's where I'm like, go with best talent. Don't worry about the fit. Don't worry about the roster. Oh, we need a big center. We don't need a big center. We don't. There's things we need to fill, but it's not going to be done during this draft class. These rookies are not going to help this team next year. They're going to help the team 2 or 3 years down the road. Maybe they help a little bit towards the end of the season once they get a little bit better, but like overall, I'm not expecting. I mean, if I'm a Hawks fan, I think you need to temper your expectations on the type of basketball player the Hawks are going to draft. Like, just because there's not going to be minutes for him. Like, I think Auntie's going to look to fill this roster with more veteran, more established talent, while trying to bring up the depth through this draft class.
I think Glenn was agreeing when Tyler said that, if they're either of the guards, Keaton Wagler or Kingston Flemings, were available at 8, that those would be good choices. Glenn, talk about one, talk about either, but what is there to like about those two?
I mean, Wagner's 6'6", right? He's a little bigger. but not that much bigger. Fleming's actually weighs 10 pounds more than Wagler, but Wagler has the ability to kind of he has an interesting pace to his game. Now he sets up his defender, gets to his spots, gets to his shots, things like that, and so he has a pretty advanced craft around getting separation, dribble relocation back to the 3-point line, getting to the rim and stuff. Fleming's is like a better athlete, just in terms of how he's kind of put together. So I mean, I think Fleming's is for me my top choice. But I don't know what the likelihood is that he makes it to 8. Like I said, it takes two teams to mess up in that 1 through 7 for him to get there. But I mean, either would be like a good get, for me. But I mean, in terms of a guy who can play faster, Fleming's is that more athletic, kind of bursty kind of athlete. So, but does he make it there? We won't know for what about a month now. Whenever I can't remember what the exact date the draft is, but 3.5 weeks out or so now. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, Hawks fans just got to root for two teams in the top 7 to make bad picks, and for Wagner or Flemings to be there. If they're both gone, we'll find out how serious they are about Burries or how serious they are about wanting to add a center, or it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I agree with Tyler. Like they're not drafting someone who's going to play a ton of minutes next year. This could be someone who spends a lot of time at College Park. That was the plan for Asa this past season, and he was great down there. It's be interesting to see if Asa's in the rotation next year. It depends on what other kind of roster moves happen along the way. But yeah, it's like I said, just hope two teams 1 through 7 make bad picks, and one of these guards is there for the Hawks. That's what I think. That's the what we're trying to manifest here.
Yeah, I mean, with Asa, Onsi clearly showed that he's just trying to get the best player available. He was not drafting to play him immediately because he knew Asa was going to be completely buried behind a bunch of power forwards this season.
Yep. Yep.
Tyler, I guess I'd ask you the same question that I was just asking Glenn. Like you specified those two as players to watch. What is it that you like about Wagler and Flemings?
Well, I'm gonna get with Wagler first because he's an interesting body type where he's not that skinny, but he's pretty skinny for the type of game that he has, where he's a super physical player. Where like he plays through contact as well as anybody I've ever seen at that frame, especially considering his age and the level of competition he was consistently having to go up against. Like it was pretty impressive how he's always able to be under control, not lose his handle, maintain his positioning, and then finish at the rim or finish with a jump shot or a floater or whatever. Like he's just very like skilled and like super, and he's athletic in a different type of way than what we consider athleticism here in America, where I just feel like he has great footwork and he uses that to maximum advantage. Um, like to me, like he would be somebody who in the Hawks in particular, playing next to Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, would really excel in Atlanta. He's probably like to me, he's probably the best. Like only maybe in this entire draft class, if we're talking about fit for the team going forward, it's probably him and like Darren Peterson, like two best fits for the team. Now, they're better basketball players in this draft class. I'm just saying, like, if we want to, it fits that important. The thing is, at 8, Wagner would absolutely be the best player available. I just don't. I would be stunned if he's there. Like his profile is too good. He was too productive. Like at the end of the day, like people can complain, oh, he didn't have dunks. His defense, he's okay defender. He's not a good defender right now, but like you look at him, he was an under recruited player. He clearly looks like a kid who's going to be gain weight as he gets older naturally, and like he's already good right now. Like he's already good. Like I think he's going to be he depending on the team he goes to, he'll be in the running for rookie of the year. Um, that's how I think that's how high I think of him offensively. Like I just think he's going to be good in ways that I think is going to surprise a lot of people. Um, But Fleming's is just a standard point guard, great, and a great he'd be a great addition because he adds speed and athleticism, stuff that the Hawks really need at that spot.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, we have plenty more time to talk about the draft, and we will. And until then, I guess we just say goodnight, Bob.
Right, Bob.
Good night.
Thank you.